Welcome to Leicester College podcast, When I Grow Up. I'm your host Leah, and in this series we'll be taking you through different careers in a variety of industries, helping you explore the different paths it could take you. Today we're here with a special guest, Jevean, who studied Peter Jones Business Academy right here at Leicester College and has since built a business afterwards. We'll be talking about her journey, experiences and advice for anyone looking to follow a similar path. It's great to have you on the podcast today. Could you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
My name is Jevean. I'm 22, and like Leah said, I'm an ex-student here at Leicester College. I am currently a customer service manager, but my true one passion is fashion and clothing, and I have a business called The Goat Clothing, and recently just started its sister business, The Goat Customs. So I do everything creatively and explore my creative talents through fashion and making garments.
Amazing. Right, we're going to dive into some questions. So I just want to talk about your sort of childhood, sort of what led you to this journey and path in the business. Was there anybody who influenced you in your journey as well when you were younger and growing up?
I think when I was younger, my mum was like the biggest advocate to like just do creative things, whether that was like putting me in like dance or like making me sign up for like theatre plays. She was always just trying to like allow me to express myself creatively, and I think that transitioned into my teenage years where I started to do different things. As like I used to perform at the Grove Theatre, and I did like Hairspray a few times. I used to DJ and host events for kids in my area. So my mum has always been the one person who's always installed in me to like express myself as an individual and find out, I guess, what is the right thing for me and how to develop that and just be myself.
So you've always been a true creative person. Yeah. Was there, throughout your sort of leading to education, was there any sort of teachers that maybe inspired you to choose sort of the business path, or was it always just sort of it ended up being that for you when you got to Leicester College?
I wouldn't necessarily, any teachers don't really come to mind. I think because my parents both had businesses, my mum and my dad were owners of a Caribbean restaurant from I was like 5 up until maybe like just before high school started. So that kind of pushed me to want to maybe start my own business. You always want to be like your parents in some sort of way. So I think that kind of pushed me into the trajectory of like having a business. And prior to Leicester College and joining here, I had done a few different businesses, whether that was makeup. I was a makeup artist for 5 years. Like I said before, I did events. So that kind of was like an kind of entrepreneurial mindset I had from a young girl, and that installed in me the passion and drive to like actually really want to learn what entrepreneurship means, and continue to push that. So I think when I came to Leicester College, entrepreneurship and enterprise, it just rang alarm bells like, yeah, this is a course I need to do.
It's amazing. And so what was your experience like at Leicester College and through the Peter Jones Business Academy? Does your studies kind of align with what your sort of business is now and what you do now?
Yeah, so previously to actually joining Leicester College, I dropped out of college twice, just because I didn't really enjoy like the systems that there was in place in my previous institutions. I felt like there was no real support, I'd say, from teachers in terms of like what I wanted to do. It was kind of like just get your grades and go, and I didn't really like that type of format. So I was a bit apprehensive joining another college after dropping out twice. But as soon as I got to Leicester College and I met Bina, my main kind of supporty teacher, she like pushed me beyond limits to just keep on going with what I'm doing previously, and she saw my business, The Goat Clothing, and believed in it so much that I think that kind of fueled my passion again, and also drove me to actually want to complete my studies, because I hated exams, I hated sitting in classes and like learning textbook to textbook. But I think the environment that I was in, and not only her but the credit to all the teachers at Leicester College, they really inspire you to like want to be better.
When you approached the transition from college to the world of work, was it what you expected, and was the business world what you expected?
Yes and no. I think because before going to Leicester College, I had already started The Goat Clothing. I started it in lockdown. And so in 2020, I had already kind of understood what it means to have a business, and like it's not as easy said than done. But I think then leaving Leicester College, I was at older age a better mindset, more information, it was very overwhelming because it's like you want your certain path to go one way, but life hits you and life is realistic. So it's like you have to be able to, one, have stability in anything that you do, but also make ways in life, whether that's like financial, whatever it is, you need to be able to have something to go back on if your business doesn't work. And for me, when I left Leicester College, I knew I didn't really want to continue with education because I just felt like I'd done it for too many years, where I was like, I just need to take a break. So I think it was that transition for me. I did find a bit difficult to come to terms with that. Okay, Jevean, you're going to have to get a job. You're going to have to start from ground zero and build your way back up. Now I'm enjoying the process. I think it was actually necessary for me to go into work, but when I first started, it was like, no, I just wanted to run away from 9 to 5 forever. I just never thought that would be my path, just because I was so strong on entrepreneurship. But I think I wouldn't change it anyway because it's taught me so much.
Definitely. Obviously, you talk about your first job as customer sales, and how did you get that? And what have you actually learned from that, as well as like juggling both a full-time job and your business?
Yeah, so I'm a customer service manager. So I manage a small team, and customer service is what it is in the name. It's giving good service to customers, and it's a very rewarding job, but also you do get them customers that are very entitled and very outlandish, and having to deal with that as well as deal with a team. When I first started, I didn't really think necessarily I was fit for the job because, I don't know, it was my first job, and it being a managerial job, something about it was just like, ooh, I'm too anxious about this. But what was great about the job I have now is advantage for me is a lot of my friends work there, so it was very easy to feel like a part of the workplace and adapt to my surroundings a lot quicker. And I feel like in the short time I've been at that job, like I've excelled quite quickly, which I think proves to myself that you can actually excel in the positions that you've been put in. And yeah, I think having that job has taught me so much. It's definitely taught me about customer service, so I definitely know what to do in terms of customer service with my own business.
And this is it, I guess those skills are transferable to anything, aren't they? Exactly. So
I think it's definitely a good experience in terms of like leadership, organization, having to go to a job and be there at the same time every day. It creates kind of like almost like balance in your life. So I think it's helped me a lot to understand where I could be, but necessarily where I don't want to be.
Definitely, yeah. So, it sounds like you've done many things through your sort of journey in your careers and everything. Was there sort of any major turns or unexpected like shifts in your journey that you think that could have led you down a different path?
I think pivotal moments in my life have shown me that the path I'm on is the correct path, per se. A great example is winning National Entrepreneur of the Year. Nothing that I expected, nothing I went into the course trying to gain or win necessarily. But I think that was a pivotal moment for me because I think it just made me understand the potential in my business idea and what more there is out there for young entrepreneurs. I think it's such like a dog eat dog world out here, and especially when you're young and you have a business and a passion that you kind of want to make your reality, being told no so many times or not really getting the flowers and the recognition you deserve can start to become a bit your work isn't good enough and kind of create some fear and anxiety. So winning that competition for me kind of put in perspective, like, oh no, what you have is actually good. Like, you have people that see what you've done and like really see the vision and see the path. So I think those pivotal moments there kind of allowed me to see my path a bit clearer. And anytime I felt like the path wasn't creativity, I'd leave. Like I wouldn't go down that path.
And obviously like winning that money obviously must have been, like you said, a pivotal moment in your life. But what were the challenges you kind of faced after winning the money, and how did you overcome those? I'm sure you had a lot of people sort of cheering you on, maybe expectations of you. Maybe how did you feel like there was any challenges that you faced during that?
Yeah, I think it was a very pressured situation, overwhelming in a good way and a bad way. winning All Lights Are On You, I was being asked to go on radio shows, talks, which was, of course, amazing opportunities. But when you're not used to cameras on you constantly, it can feel a bit overwhelming. Am I saying the right thing? How are people going to perceive this? And then obviously you've got people that want to eat off your success too. So I felt like it was very hard to decipher who's actually there for me to support me and those that are just trying to eat off the win that I have. So I met a few different individuals throughout winning the process, and I think there were definitely things I would do differently in terms of like what I would have done with the finances and things of that sort. But I also don't regret any of it, because I think a lot of it is a learning curve, and it's taught me what not to do now and what to do now.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you're doing it for the first time, you know, it's always going to be a learning experience. So, you know, what does a typical day in sort of a full-time job and a business entrepreneur look like to you? You know, maybe like every week, do you put anything towards this business and building it up?
Yeah, so at the beginning, when I first got my job, I just wanted to understand the job. So I definitely put all my business to the side and just wanted to get stable. But now I'm at a place where I know what I'm doing. I feel confident in my team, in my job. I've now kind of established a balanced routine. So it might sound to some like, oh, that's a lot, but I have a literal 5 to 9, 9 to 5, 5 to 9 routine, which I do Monday through Friday. The weekends I give to myself, but it's more of like, I wake up, I'll go to the gym. I feel like that for me, people always say the gym, you know, makes your day feel more productive. It definitely does.
It sets the tone.
It sets the tone,
yeah.
Honestly. It feels like you've achieved something so early in the day that you can feel like you can achieve everything else throughout.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, I'll go to the gym and then I'll go to work from 9 to 5. And then when I get home, I always like to give myself at least 2 hours to my business, whether that's me sewing and making a custom or focusing on branding or setting up the legal structure of the business. I think little by little, they always say if you add 1% in every day, eventually it's going to reach 100%, you know. So I think it's those small little changes into my routine that has helped me see a quicker change and see the process, I guess, develop a lot quicker, because I'm every day adding to it, yeah.
And so what do you love most about having your own business, and what do you maybe like the least? What's the most challenging part of having your own business that maybe other people might not know about?
I think my favorite part about having a business is just being your own boss, like being able to dictate, change, anything that you want, really. If I have a mind in my head, I can creatively create it and see it physically. I think things like that. I think the most challenging aspect, there's a couple, but I'd say one is the motivation, the self-motivation. There's days where I don't want to do anything but sleep or lay in my bed and scroll on TikTok, or, you know, just go out with my friends. It's trying to find a balance with like being disciplined in what you're doing, but also indulging in the other things that you like, whether that's hanging out with your friends or binging a TV show. It's like trying to find that balance. Sometimes your mind plays tricks on you, like, you've done enough work this week, you don't need to do it, but like, I know I need to do this. Or you haven't seen your friends in 2 weeks, you need to go see your friends, but it's like you're so dedicated to the cause. It's fine trying to find that balance. And I think another challenge is, with anything, it's money. Like, it's that capital. You have so many things in life that you want to do, whether that's going on a holiday, eating out, saving money, or then putting it into your business. It's like you have to figure out what's most important. And I think when you don't see your business like prevail and you don't see the changes quite quickly, you're thinking, what have I done this for? So it can start to become a bit autonomous.
You the bigger picture, don't you?
And if you don't see it, you're like, what am I doing this for? But it's just down to like having self-belief, which will push you to continue going.
Yeah. And to highlight that, sort of, what are the little things that you do to stay motivated and to sort of continue in your business?
I think it's seeing how far I've come, like all the things that I've done throughout, because I'm only 22, and I think a credit to myself is like I've done a lot within my 22 years and achieved a lot. And I just think to myself, if I can do that in such a small amount of time, imagine what I can do in 10 years time. I think that motivates me and fuels me to keep going, because it's like I'm constantly being shown that I can obtain these things and there is potential there. So I think that motivates me as well. Having a good family support system, friends that support you and encourage you, even like on social media, having like mutuals who are always supporting your things, having people like applause the work that you're doing and you're spending all these hours effortlessly doing it, kind of continues to push you to want to achieve more and want to do more, because at the end of the day, you're not only letting yourself down if you stop, but you're letting the people around you that have poured so much love into you as well. So I think that kind of keeps me going and enables me to like wake up every day and want to be more hungry for it, you know.
And sort of, a lot of students might want to know the finance side. I know you sort of mentioned earlier that maybe that to you it was much more than you'd realised as well, you know. Could you maybe talk a bit about sort of the finances that you do put into the business and that other students might not know about?
Yeah, so with the competition, you got a 5k investment into your business, and to me, even when I got it, I was like, oh my gosh, £5,000, it's a lot of money. And it is a lot of money, but in the business world, when you think about businesses that are like turning in £1 million a year and things of that sort, it's not the most amount of money to then create or scale a business, but it's a perfect amount of money to start, I would say. So I think as I was using the money was going quicker than I imagined. So it was kind of like, oh wow, like as much as money is here, it can go immediately. So I think when it comes to finances, I would say for me, it's like trying to slowly accumulate the money. Like, I think we're young, so we can't expect to have £20,000 savings within a year. Like, especially when you're working, well, we know what people are getting paid these days. It's not
a realistic goal.
Exactly. So I think it's like small steps. So rather than spending £2,000 a manufacturer, maybe when I talk about clothing, for example, maybe start smaller and have a smaller quantity and put a bit less money in, so you can see that be profitable, and then use that money to reinvest. That's what I do and have always done. Any money I make for my business, I reinvest it. So in hindsight, I'm not really taking anything home. It just keeps on going back into the business until it reaches a level of profit and revenue where I can sustain that and then be able to, you know, have some for myself.
Absolutely, that's really important. And sort of what skills or mindset do you think are crucial to succeed in a business? What that you maybe learned from others or just creating your own business? What sort of skills and mindset do you have to have for that?
I think confidence is a big one. No one's going to believe in your business if you don't believe in it. So when you talk about it to other people, when you promote it, there's got to be a level of like confidence there for people, I feel like, to take you seriously. I would also say organization is a really good one. As someone who starts their own business, you need to be organized. You need to know what you're doing next. Tailing along with a business, the results are gonna really reflect what you give it. So I would say being organized, being on the ball, and also having balance. You are a human, you're not just a working robot where every day you get up and you work. You want to have balance so you can feel inspired to go again, and even if you take a few days out to kind of rework things and start again.
You're still young, you've got to enjoy that time as well.
Of course. Like, you don't want to look back and I didn't do anything in my 20s, all I did was work. Yeah, you might then have so much success, but you're definitely going to feel that FOMO and feel left out for not enjoying whilst you still can.
I think those are three amazing mindsets you've got to have. And sort of looking ahead, how do you see your business maybe progressing and evolving? Like, are there any future goals or ambitions that you have that you see for this business?
Yeah, so I look at the Goat as almost like a enterprise, in a sense of like that being the pinnacle and there being filtered businesses through that. Like I said, I've done makeup, I've done events, so I'd love to incorporate that with the Goat. Currently, the Goat clothing is my biggest kind of focus right now, and I recently just created a sister brand called the Goat Customs. So it's basically the same thing, but I wanted to take my one-of-one clothing designs and kind of put that in its separate entity and have the Goat clothing be its own like established clothing brand with exclusive drops and things of that sort, where the Goat Customs can kind of be like a more community based business where I work with clients, they tell me the item that they want for whatever occasion it is, I can then create that with them, so it kind of feels like a more personal experience that they're having with me, and then in turn also bring other inspiring designers on the journey too, and allow them to work under the goat and create customs for people too. So I think for me, that's where I see it. I can see the goat clothing being a really established name within the fashion industry, and I hope it is, and I hope it will be.
Definitely a catchy name.
Thank you. But yeah, that's kind of where I see it becoming, and from there just continuously creating. I don't like to put myself in one box, so it's like every year I think of something new skill that I want to adopt. So I think I'm just going to be focusing on my real passions, which currently now is fashion, and seeing where those doors open up to, and eventually hopefully reaching like those high goals that I have for myself.
Oh, that's amazing. And just a final question, if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of career advice, what would it be?
Save your money. I remember I used to do makeup, and I'd make like £100, and I'd go be like, yeah, guys, what you doing today? Let's go out. And I'd spend it all. I think if I saved that money, I'd be sitting on some bank right now that I could use to invest. But I also would say just keep going. I think I was so like doubtful and fearful about the things that I was creating, just based off your own personal fears and anxiety. But I would encourage myself to just keep going, and know that there are people there that are inspired by what you're doing and support you and want to be similar to where you are. So I feel like I never want to trick myself out of the position I'm in. I like to be very aware and grateful that some people wish they were doing what I was doing. But yeah, just keep going and keep striving, I'd say to my younger self. Yeah,
that's amazing. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. We've really enjoyed having you.
No, thank you so much for having me.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Bye.